Okay, welcome back, and hello everyone. Tonight, this video is not a streamed video. It will not be on my Twitch channel. It's a record one, and it's clearly on another topic right now. I wanted to walk through my process of creative coding, and especially in JavaScript using data visualization. So, for a quick introduction, let me explain what we'll be doing tonight. So, basically, I'm teaching data visualization in a school, in bio school, in fact, and right now I need to create the example for my next course, and the topic is working with open data and API, going through token, etc, etc. So I want to make a quick example using opendata.paris, which is a great portal. Here it is. This is a great portal for grabbing open data without any token, and you can grab various data for Paris, for example. So it's really interesting. The second API I want to explore is Open Weather Map. It's a really cool API, free one, and you could use with a token, so it will help me to show how you can use an app with a token. So this is the underlying concept, the underlying platform we will use. So yeah, the program I've made for the open data is the following. So basically the main idea is to discover the world of open data. So discover there is a lot of different kind of portals where you can grab a lot of informations and data, and you can create a nice data visualization on that. I want to cover how to grab data through the API, so asking the server on the open data, so without any token, or with a token, so with open weather map. And I also wanted to show how we can publish the project on Github. So that's the main idea on that. And the objective for the class is for each student to understand the format of the JSON format, which is the JavaScript object notation, because on the previous course we already worked with data, but we work with CSV, which is comma separated value. So now we will try to understand what is a JSON format. We will talk about what is an API, and we will try to analyze the data and try to distinguish different type of data. We will try to grab the data, and we will try to illustrate the data. I think I want to grab the data using graph.js or maybe p5.js. I'm not sure what we will doing, and we will ask the API with the token, so open weather map. And I want to make a quick introduction about Github and how to publish your project on Github, and making everything working from that. Basically it's a course of 2 sessions, usually with morning and afternoon. I hope to make everything in less than 3 or 4 hours of coding. So that's the main idea. So as it's a recording, I will not cover all the topics I will cover during my course with the students. you will only see me walk through my coding process and my creative process for creating this example, but we will not talk about the JSON format or anything like that. I'm not sure if this video will be shown as a stream or simply simply some cuts of it, so you will maybe see me struggle on various things. So yeah, that's it. So let me grab this and going to my second screen, this part, and open Visual Studio Code. So usually when I work with when I teach in school, I teach in French, so it's kind of a first for me to make the walkthrough in English, but I made various tutorials in English, so I hope it will be the same here. So yeah, Dataviz-21, and okay, and I will need to create a new module, so let's create a new folder, and it's called module 2, and the module 2 will be on the API. So this is the second module. So yeah, I want to grab some data and JSON formats, and first of all I think I will make a simple boilerplate. Yeah, let's try that. Let's create I will try to create two data visualization, one on open data and another one with open with the map. I will try to do something like that. So let's call this open data Paris, and I will create also a new folder which will be open with map. And on open data.paris, let's create a new file, index.html, and this is an HTML5 template. The title is open data.paris, and let's go live. So my web server is correct. I think I'm just a little bit too high on the hierarchy, so let's go in this. Okay, so I'm in my hierarchy. So yeah, on the middle one we've tried to grab various data using fetch method. We try to graph some data. We also graph some static data on a map, so it was a static map, and we use also a dynamic map. So this was my first two courses, and the module 2 will be on open data. Okay, so first thing first, okay, yeah, and this is my graph. Okay, so yeah, first thing first, we would need to get the data. So let's create a script. Okay, this will be a script we will call open data Paris grabber.js, and this script will only focus to grab focus on grabbing the data. So create a new file, save it. Okay, and let's go to the API. So basically this is the opendata.paris API. Let's make a quick overview of this API just to remember how it works. I already worked with this API. So there is a V1 and a V2, but the V2 is still a beta, so it's a little bit different. So I will focus on the V1. So okay, you have this. So basically you only need to make a request, okay, so like this one. So we will use a fetch, and we will send to our fetch this little URL, and the idea will be to grab the data and ask the server a question. We need to ask the server a question, then grab the data. So basically how it works, we need to have this link here. So this link is basically the starting question. So we ask the API dataset v1, okay, so this is the v1 API, and we will search for a question, and we will need to ask a question. So for it, for example, you will have, you see, various information for that, okay. You can check a data ID if you want, and you can search a register. Okay, and when you ask, so we will go through the question later, but when we ask the question, you will have a JSON file which is divided into two main elements. First of all, you have the n-height, which is the number of answers you get from the server. So here we have 278 answers for this. You will have some parameters, so this is the global parameter for the data. So we are in universal time, I think this is universal time, and what is the universal time coordinate? Yes, this is, I forgot for the coordinates, sorry. We see that we have 10 rows, so we have 10 lines for each data, and we start at 0, okay. So for this question we have 278 answers, and here we will get 10 answers because we have 10 rows and we start at row 0. So basically you will have 10 answers on the 278 possibilities of answers. The format is a JSON, it's not staged, and it does not include draft. So you could see how it works. You can have all the elements. Okay. So for example, the get the get method for grabbing the data is like that. So the question and then the elements. Okay. Okay. Here on the console API from opendata.paris, it's really interesting because you can refine the question, you can add a lot more row if you want. If you want to start at the answer 10 and avoid the 9 first answer, you can sort. So you can sort your values. So maybe you want only some sub information. You will see this later, and you can add some facets to activate your results. So you can refine by some different value, and you can exclude another one. So this is kind of interesting. Okay. So for example, here for the preview I have too many rows, so it's not it cannot read all of them. Okay. In order to try that, let's try some data. Okay. So what do we have? We have some variable, we have some variable. So this is the electrical vehicles localization. Commerçant parisien, retrait, commande ou livraison. Ok. This is kind of interesting here. This is the buying in Paris. It's kind of interesting because we are in a COVID area, so it's interesting. You can show the public toilets. In your city, you can have a lot of things. So this is commerce and tourism. Okay, inhabitations, environments. So you have a lot of things here. For example, you have the Paris Wi-Fi. Okay, let's go back to the mains. So you have different things. You have cultural data, commerce and tourism, citizenship, administration and public finance, environments, equipment, service and social mobilities, mobility and public space, urbanism and inhabitants, I think. So let's check commerce and tourism, environments, which are the, and culture, which are the three themes I want to maybe explore. For example, what we do in Paris, event and activity. It's kind of complicated due to the COVID area. Shooting spot in Paris. It can be interesting to show how many spots in Paris where there is some film. Commission of Old Paris, referential architectural, archéological, sorry, référentiel archéologique, poste public des bibliothèques, tous les documents des bibliothèques, collection des bibliothèques et fonds spécialisés matrimoniaux. This is, for example, this is the 1000 most reserved title for library. I'll check this one. Okay, another one here on the green space, so on environmental green space and assimilated. Quelle couche physique localise vraiment l'emprise des espaces verts, îlot de fraîcheur, îlot de fraîcheur. This is, for example, all green space, fresh green space in Paris, which is some parks which are sought by the fauna and out its shadows and the night opening. You have also the remarkable trees, which is really interesting. You have 179 elements, which is kind of interesting. This is the collect point. Let's open to that. Whoops, where am I? I'm going back to the. Okay, let's open this one and the trees, because the trees has a lot more elements, so it can be also interesting. And here for the commerce and tourism, let's check some data. This could be interesting, especially in the COVID era. This is the open space market. This is some data about point of interest in Paris, if you want to make a walk, an interesting walk in Paris. But it's concerning the 12, 13 and 14 district. Okay, so let's go back to the 1,000 title most booked in library. So opendata.paris is really interesting because you can have a lot of information on the data and the API, and everything is ready here. So you can have the information on the data, you can have a table in order to sort the data and to see the data, you can have some analysis about the data, you can export the data, so if you want to grab the data at a specific point in time and then use it later, and you will have the API. So this is the name, the ID for the data. Okay, you can see the number of download, and this is the theme, this is the keywords, so library, books, documents, compact disc references, booking, multimedia, etc, etc. It's in French and it's produced by the Cultural Affair in Paris. And the last update it's from 2019, so it's not really up to date right now. And we may ask why, and in the COVID era library are closed, so that's why. You will have the data model, so it's really interesting. So what's interesting, so the data model will give you an example of the data description. It can be interesting, and also it can be a little bit hard to understand because sometimes there is a lack of description here. So for example, you have a rank. What is it? We don't know, but there is an example which is 8. We have the type of documents, so we here have a book for adults, so we don't know what is it. We have some bookings, so here this is the booking for the book, so it has 436. Okay, we have some title, so here the title is Vernon Subutex for the adult book. You can have the author, so it's Virginie Despentes, and you will have the JSON example. And as I show you in the previous API, you will see various elements. So for example, you have the title, you have the type, one of elements, you have the definition, property, record, array itself, and you will have everything. So here the data, so everything comes in the property field, and you have a type object and the property, so the rank, integer, rank, title, description, etc, etc. So that's the JSON schematic. Then you will have the arrays. So for example, if you want to have the rank, so the most book documents in all library in Paris is L'Enfant Perdu, The Lost Child by Elena Ferrante. The second one is Colors of the Fires by Pierre Lemaitre. The third one is The One Who Left and The One Who Stayed by Elena Ferrante. The Art of Losing, the Disappearance of Stephanie Meyer, etc, etc. So sometimes we have some lack of authors, so it can be a little bit tricky. You have a lot of reservation here. We can display some type. I think I will go with this one because there is a lot of different things, and especially it's pure data, so why not? Okay, so this is the 1,000 box. Let's go to another one. Okay, so this was for cultural. Okay, you can have some analysis, for example. So here you have an analysis about how many. So the rank. So it's sorting the rank by the type. So for example, and this is kind of interesting because you could see there is sometimes So as you could see, comics for a teenager, comics for adults, and comics for children, compact disc, DVD, and you have a lot of different things, so why not? And you can sort, for example, you can have different kind of visualization, so some kind of a line or radar chart if you want, but radar chart is not really interesting. Okay, so let's go back to the yes, bar charts. So you could sort a little bit, so maximum percent, etc, etc. And on the x-axis we have the type of document and the count here. So let's go to the author, for example, and might be Beaton MC as 7 count, why not? So here you have the rank and the reservation, for example, maximum reservation for Osterpol. Okay, you could export the data, and also here this is the API. So again, explaining the API, and then I think I will try to code something. Okay. So for this one, you will see here the dataset. So this is the element title, the most booked in libraries. You will have the number of it. So here, so 1000. You will have the parameter for the dataset, which concern the global dataset. Okay. So here you have the time zone, the rows, the stats, the sorting. So here we sort by rank, the JSON, and the facets. So basically the sorting here, so this is by rank. You will see that all the data which is in the record JSON object, it's a JSON array, sorry, the record JSON array, you will see all the data are directly sorted by the ranks. So basically here I know that my first value will be the rank 1, the second one will be the rank 2, and you will add the number of reservations. So it's kind of interesting to see. Okay, you will have for each book, you will have the dataset ID, so we will retrieve this. You have the record ID, which is a unique ID for each data, and you will have the field, which is another JSON object, which has all the elements, all the data for the book, which is the title, the rank, the author, and the number of reservation. And then we will have the timestamp. So the timestamp is basically the last time it was updated. Okay. We also have some facet here. So for example, here for the facet we have too many elements, but we could show it later. So we have 10 rows. We have some facets, and we can refine the facets. So let's say type of documents, and you can change the value here, for example. Okay, and the time zone, etc, etc. And then you will see at the end of this element, you will see the URL, the question you need to ask. You need to ask to your elements. So as you could see here, if I click on my on the link, I will go directly to this nice JSON object, which is really unreadable. So if I want to check how it is, let's try to make a new document. and I never remember my keyword for that. I think is this, or how do I know? Indentation. Yeah. I need to save it first of all. So I will save on my JSON. I will directly save on my desktop because right now I don't need a plan. Okay. I don't need to save this, but let's try this. Okay. So now we have everything, and let's try to indent. So now we have everything. So we have our 10 value, and you will have the facet. So the facet is some count. So if we go back to this, okay, to this and to that. So we made a facet by the type of document and the author. So right now we have, I think this is the author, which is the count. So Craig and Phillips 25 count. Okay. And then we have, so this is the facet. Okay. So this is a kind of a sub sorting, and also you will have here the another facet, which is the type, so account, okay, with book, DVD, etc., etc. So facet is really interesting because it can help you to prepare, to pre-sort your documents. So it's really interesting, but not all API has this these elements. Okay, so let's go back to our things and try something new. So we saw that we have the rank, the type of document, the reservation, which name is reservation. Does it change anything if we change that or not in the API? So let's make this by the reservation. Okay, and let's click send. So here I can manipulate my data, so I can create my question basically by refining, by sorting, by everything, and you will see that it changed the question here. So the question is basically the URL / the API, the record, the version, the search. So we ask a question, and we ask a question here on the dataset, the 1000 title most booked in libraries, and then you will have the ampersand before adding some parameters, which is the sorting. So we sort by the reservation, and the facet, which is the sub values by the type of document and the author. Okay, and now if I click on it, I will have a new data set. So let's copy paste this and say apply. Okay, and you will see here now everything is thought differently. So you will have here first of all some different kind of values. So I don't think it's, yeah, this is the rank. Oh yeah, as you could see, it changed the element. So it's not ordered by rank, but now it seems to be ordered by number of reservation, which is kind of intriguing because it doesn't seems to be let's check the reservation. Oh yeah, by the number, by the first one to the last one. So does it change something if I say reservation instead of minus? Yeah, this is it. So by changing minus this, it's changing the order. So basically now my question is clearly different because it's refining everything. So Why I could not. Okay, let's grab this. Oh, again, I'm in English, that's why. Okay. This. Okay. So now it's sorted by the most booked to the last book. Okay. So The Lost Child is the most book by the most book title by Elena Ferrante. Okay. And you could see you have the author, the rank, and the reservation. And this one doesn't has any type, and we have seen this here. So the type of document here is not now. So we have some data which is not totally finished. Okay. Okay, so here it is. So that's how it works. And you could see there is a lot of different kind of questions. So for example, this is the trees, and the trees has a lot of different kind of data. You have much more data in trees. For example, you have the ID, you have so the trees, again, it's not the remarkable trees. This one, it's all the trees in Paris. So you will have 26,578 data, which is a lot, and it has a lot of information, which is the ID base. I don't really know what is this right now. We have the type of the element, so this is a tree, for example. We have the dominalité in French, so where it is, maybe it's a jardin, maybe it's on the road, maybe a park on the road, etc, etc. You will have the district, so here it's Paris 16. You will have the complement, the address, the number of the address, the full address, the ID of the address, the French label, which is a manual here, the genre, so the species, also a tripetala, and we have various values, so circumference, also you will have the height, the development stage, is it remarkable or not, and you will have the geo point, which is basically the geolocalization of the tree. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to see what kind of chart I could use. So this is for the tree. Another one is the remarkable tree, which has less value. It has, I think, 179. But you have a lot of data inside a remarkable tree, because you will see the same data as the tree. So you will have the geopoint, the genre, the species, the address, the type, the places, the district. You could see the circumference, which is really interesting also. The height, for example, the stage. I think I will go with this one, in fact. It might be more interesting to make this. 100 of elements might be interesting. Okay. So which one? Do we want the trees, or do we want the books? Let me check. I had the reference here I wanted to explore, but okay, for example, okay. Yeah, why not work with the yeah, it might be interesting to work with chart and not. Okay, so I will work with this one. So why? I was looking on the references I saw on Instagram for design, because I want to make something really simple, and there is this design system which was really easy. So as you could see, you have everything. Okay, so it might be really easier to use it. Okay, so let's do it. Let's grab this book and let's try to grab this API. Okay, so the elements, do I want to sort by okay. I will add all the facets just to be sure to check how it behaves. Yeah. Rank is really not necessary for right now. So let's remove this. Okay. Do we have another rank, another facet we could use or not? Let's go back here and let's show the model. So the type, the reservation, the title, the author. Here we use the, oh yeah, we could show the title, but I think the title is already here because we sort by the number of reservations. So the title is basically the enfant perdu, the lost child. So if I say title, so titre, I would have, I think, the same facet. Okay. So this is it. So this is the type. This is the author, and as you could see in the title, you would see blah, blah. This is interesting. There is 2 counts in this. Okay. Let's check. Game of Thrones. Let's try to find it. Okay, so let's go back here. So yeah, let's grab it. So do we want to work with fetch or not? This was my question. Maybe I won't need to grab the value. So fetch is really interesting, but I don't think it might be a bad thing to do. So fetch was cool, but I had to load the data, to parse the data, so I'm really not sure about that. I think I will use, okay, so let's divide everything, and I will use P5 in order to load everything. So let's create open data Paris URL. Okay, and let's break down a little bit. So I will create various values, so various variables. So yes, my idea is to break down this little link here, okay, which give me that. Okay, here we are. So I want to break down the link into different elements. So right now my request is this, which is kind of really a long request, and if I want to change it, it can be a little bit difficult. So first of all, I will say I want only to get the API URL, okay, and I will also get the version, which is the 1.0, okay. And I will add a slash before everything. So this is it. So let's copy paste this, okay. So I want to go to this URL. So I will grab the version 1. Let questions. So this is my question, which is the search. Okay. This one doesn't have a slash. Let's dataset. I will name it dataset ID because it's like that in my. Okay, so the dataset ID is the thousands elements title most booked in Paris libraries. Okay. So I will add some refining. So sort and refine. Okay, which is basically this. So first of all, I will go to the number of rows, in fact. So okay, so this is the number of rows plus the number of rows. Okay, then let sort okay, which is sort reservation. I will divide it into into two string in order to only change this by a double click. Okay, so let facets okay. So my first facet is type of documents plus another facet. So let I will name facet ID facet request. Okay, which will be basically this. Okay, and the facets, which will be facet request plus the type of document plus facet request plus the author. Okay, and now my final request is the opendata.paris.fr plus the version plus the question plus the dataset ID. data set ID plus the rows plus the sort plus the facets, and this is all my my all requests. Okay, so if I say console.log of this request, I would have this where am I? Okay, so I'm clicking and this is my my data. Okay, so now I can change if I want the thousands elements, I could say that and go back here and say here it is, and I will have the thousands element directly into my my value. So sometimes when we have more than thousands elements, the server cannot respond, so you will have to cut into various various parts. Do I want to fetch or do I want to request? I'm not sure about that. I'm trying to understand how I can make that. I think I will use graph.js, so I will not have to load everything into that, so I will create my own loading value. So I could grab a response into a JSON. Okay. So fetch is native, so let's grab this here in order to see my fetch system. If I want, I could make something with P5 for drawing, but right now only using fetch will help me to focus on the most important thing, which is basically grabbing the data. So yeah, let's create a new function which is an async function load data, which take a request. Okay, so my request is basically a data URL, so I could say data URL. Okay, and this we will have a constant response, which is an asynchronous response. So fetch the data URL. Okay, then we will have the raw data, which will be also an asynchronous function, and we will get the response dot JSON, so it will return a JSON value, and we can say console.log raw data, and then we can use our data here. So let's say load data, and we will load our request. Okay, and we will see something like here. We will create then response. Okay, which will be console.log all data have been loaded. Also, I would add a catch with an error, which will give me a new console.error, and we will log the error right into it. And now I can add my semicolon here and see. Okay, as you could see here, we have all the data here which are loaded into native code. You could try to get the data, so here you will have all the data. Okay, let's try to grab less value just for the beginning. Okay, so I would need to go to MDN to see how the response.json give us something, because I think I would need to get the value. Oh, did I forget? Yeah, I forgot this. This is a function, so I need to grab the JSON. Yeah, that's why it didn't work. Okay. So now that's why basically JSON is really interesting. It's because all your data are already here. Okay. So you could see here, I have a lot of values here. Okay, so first thing first, if we unroll this, this is my JSON object, and basically my JSON object is an object inside of an object inside of an object. So if I want to get, and it is described by the name, so it's really simple to ask. So if I want to get the number of it, so the number of response I have in my request, I could simply say what is the raw data dot head hits, and by asking simply the name of the JSON object, I will retrieve the value. So it's really easy to get any value from that. When it comes tricky, it's when you need to dive into object. So here I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 JSON objects. The first one is a JSON array, the second one is a JSON object, the third one is JSON object, the fourth one is the JSON array. The JSON array, I could see it's an object which has a value, but the JSON object can also have multiple objects inside of it. So you could chain the names of the data object in order to of the JSON object in order to retrieve the value inside of it. So if I want to get the number of rows I have here, I need simply to ask my data.parameters.rows. Okay, so let's try that. .parameters.rows. So this would give me 10. So it's really simple to grab any data from a JSON object. Another thing interesting in JSON object is you could have a lot of, you could dive into arrays. So for example, I talk about array here. So facet groups and records are tried. So the records is basically all my datas, all my hits, okay, all my record, the first one, the second one, etc., which are sorted. So basically this one would be the lost child, which is rank 1 and has 1139 booking. Okay, so if I want to retrieve the first elements, it's easy. So I will need to go to my raw data. So this is my JSON object. Then go to the record. Okay. And as my records is not a JSON object but a JSON array, I will need to provide an index. So I want the first one, so I will grab the index 0. And maybe I want to know, let's say, the title. So the title, I see it's stored in the field value. So let's go to fields. Then let's get the title. So field.titre. And then I will get the enfant perdu. So you could see it's really, really, really simple. Okay. So let's try to create a simple graph for that and to see how we can have everything. Okay, we'll grab the. Okay, so we also have the facets. So as we said earlier, the facets are basically the author and the count of the author. So it counts the number of the author which has redundant, which has multiple books. So for example, Worth Philip has 5 entry and Gloagan Philip has 25 entry in the datasets. So we would see them here. Okay, in the analysis, if I want to have the author by the rank. So okay, but if I want to let's say we'd have I say 1000. Okay, so this is my data, and let's go back to this. Oops, now this, which was the data.json. Yeah, I want that. Okay, and in the facet we would have someone named, let's go back here, okay, Gloagan Phillips. Okay, so as you could see, Gloagan Phillips appear on multiple times for various titles, so it can be really interesting to show the number of books, etc., etc. So let's try to think a little bit about that. Let's create various things based on our refining and our data. So this is my data. Okay, so what could I show? I have the record with the all the books, so I could show a top 10. So for example, show a top 10 book. Okay, then I could show a the top 10 author. That might be I could show also not author. So what is a top 10 author? It might be the number of authors which are reserved. So this is the same, in fact, top 10 books last author, it is the same. Number of how can I say that? If I want to show that Gwyneth Phillips has 25 entry in my things, it might be a top 10 author. With multiple books. So it's how many titles. It's more than title are booked per author. Okay, it's not really that, but okay. What can I show? We also have I think we have some kind of type here in the field, so type of documents. Okay, we also have this here in the facet number 1. You could see here we have the type of documents. So top 10 of document type. Let's only focus on the top 10 right now. Okay, so right now I need to grab in my module 1 graph. We need to create this. Okay, and I will need to create various canvas. So this is the first one, and I want to show 3 graphs, so I will have the canvas, and the ID would be top 10 books. Okay, top 10 author might be really interesting. Top 10 author. Okay, and we will see the top 10 author will be a little bit different. It will be the one we will need to refine a little bit. Then another idea would be, what can I say here? Top 10 of document type. Top 10 document type. In order to be really understanding, let's say that document type. Okay, oh, chart.js does not exist, sorry, I didn't. Okay, so top 10 book is kind of easy, but what do we want to display in the graph? So go back in the graph. Let's go to this and to the documentation. Get started. Okay, color, performance, animation, legend, tooltip. So we have a line, we have some kind of bar chart, we have some radar chart. I think we will use the radar chart for the top 10 author. It might be really interesting. Donut Spy, Polar, Bubble, Scatter, Area, and this is a mix of data, so why not? Let's start with some kind of a as we don't have any value. Let's start with a bar chart. A simple bar chart would be okay. So first of all, let's create our top 10. So top 10 books. Okay. Let top 10 author. Top 10 document type. Okay, and this will be the title, author name, document type. I need something for the legends, for the label. Okay, so I need something for the labels. Top 10 book, top 10 books labels. This will under my label, labels, and this is the same labels. Okay, we will feed all our data here. So top 10 books. Okay, first of all, let's iterate through our data. Okay, so let's create let's get the records. Okay, for this and basically my idea here is to grab only the records, so I will not have to say the thing we have here. So I would not have to say raw data dot it dot mesh dot things, etc, etc. So that's the thing. Okay, okay, let's return our value, return raw data. So I would have a response here. So if I say all data has been loaded, just console.log response, I should get my data here. Okay, so I want to get this dot records, which is basically my array. Yeah. Okay, and now I only need to go to the, as it's already sorted, in fact I only need to go through the 10 first elements. Okay, so let's create a for each loop. So for let I equals 0, I less than 10, and I plus plus, then let label is equal to records at I dot top 10 book. The top 10 book is it's record the tit, and I will add the author plus records I dot author. Okay, and let count will be equal to records I dot dot reservation. I want the number of reservation, so this is it. And now I could simply say console.log. I could, as I get the value, I need to feed my arrays, so this is the count, so dot push count, and I need also to the top 10 book label dot push my label. Okay, and now if I want to display this, I would have an undefined value. Maybe I didn't get the proper value, so it is records. Oh yeah, it's not in records, so let's get the value. Record is my array, but I need in the array to go into the field, okay? Because every data I want to grab, the author, the name of the title, and the reservation are in the field value. So let field basically is equal to records I dot fields, and now this is something more like that. Okay, and now I have my count in order, and I could display my label here, which will be this. Delete car in string author. Let's create a simple. I want to delete in my author, I want to delete the comma, so basically I'm taking the author, making it as an array by splitting it into that, by splitting by the comma, and now I could say this.0 plus space plus this.1. Oh, I don't need an array. Okay, so by Ferrante Elena, so I could say this. As I already have a space divider before the name, before the surname, I will delete it, but I will add here. So, couleur de l'incendie de Pierre Lemaître, celle qui fuit et celle qui reste de Lena Ferrante. Ok, donc déjà on en a deux qui ressortent. Okay, so this is our top 10 book. Another one which is really easy to do. It's a top 10 documents. Okay, so let's go back here and try this. So it's basically the same. In fact, I will need to go here, but I will not need the records. So let facet, so I will ask basically the facet. The first one is the facet here, so this is the second facet, so I will need to ask the facet document type, which is basically response dot facet underscore group, and I want the number 1 dot facets. I want to retrieve everything. So now if I take console.log facets, oh, it's this. And now I have my count. So my top 10 is really easy to do it right now. So going here, and again, let's say let label is equal to facet document type at index I dot, and this is the label. So the label is basically the name. So dot name. So I need the count, which is facet document type index I dot count, because it's the same name. Then I need to push everything. So top 10 document label dot push label top 10 document type dot push count. And again, if I say console.log top 10 document type label and top 10 document type, I would retrieve the DVD, the adult book, the DVD, the comics, the novelty, the DVD, the teenage book, DVD for 12 and plus, the adult book, the DVD for teenage, and the compact disc for adults. So basically I could now create my two first elements, my two first graph. The second one is a little bit tricky. Okay, so go back here and go back here. I want to display the top 10 author, but top 10 author is not, is basically finding so as you could see here, we have Glogen Phillips, which has 25 entry. It's kind of interesting, but it's not the top 10 author. What do we need to consider a top 10? Though the top 10 author is the author which has the most book inside this top 10. So it could be Glogen Phillips, which has 25 book, which has been 25 entry, which has been booked by the public. But we also need to consider the number of book, which are the number of title which has been booked. So I think I will need to go to all of this, okay, and to find how many books they have. I'm not sure about that, but maybe I can refine directly here using the API. Okay, so let's go back here and The facet is interesting, but let me think a little bit about that. Her name is Elena, I think. Elena Ferrante. And we know she has more than two books. Where are you, Elena? Going back here and let's get all the data. Okay, and let's try here this again. Yeah, and let's search Elena. Ferrante underscore Elena. So we have a lot of book here. She has 14 books, so it's really interesting. So I think I would need, this is my list. Okay, so this is how I understand. So this is my list of all the author, okay, and I would need to get a list for each of them. Okay, I will need to go for each of them, and I will try to count the number. So for Gloegan, for Sobral Patrick, for Lifun Patricia, etc., etc., I will need to count the number of reservations they have, and I think I will create a new JSON object. This would be better. Okay, let's try that. Let count per okay, let facet author, this is basically this, but with the index 0. Okay, and now for that, but I will need to go for all the data. let author is equal to facet author dot name index I dot name. And now I could go over all the records. Okay, so for let g equals 0, g less than record dot length, record dot length, and j plus plus. Let records equal let's field, sorry, is equal to records j dot fields. Let author field author is equal to fields dot to field, sorry, dot author if author is tracked, author without half. So if author is strictly equal to field author, then I would push field dot reservations and I would have a console dot log count per author. As you could see now, I'm not sure about that, but I would have something. So for example, Broken Phillips and Ferrante Elena. Oh, I only pushed the last one, so of course I don't have the proper value. I need to make the same things I've made. So first of all, this is it. So have two elements and I need for each of one. This will not work. Maybe I could make a hash map. Hash map will be better. This would be equal to a new map. Okay. So let author equal perfect author dot name at index I. Okay, so if this map is undefined, then we add the author. Okay. Actual value is equal to this point get and du coup 10 plus okay, seems correct now. but so this is by key, this is not by values, but I want to map by value, so this is not what I wanted. Okay. So now that everything is sorted, I can basically go from all of this. And now I could say that, and my map is named this. And I could say something like let author is simply equal to key, of course, and let count is equal to map dot get key. And now I could simply bind this value, so my top 10 author dot push count, and also my top 10 author label dot push author, and here we are. We can now create a console log, which is here, and try to grab everything. So top 10 author, top 10 labels, and now let's create something to limitate everything to 10. So let's create let e equal 0, and let's say if I is upper than 9, then we break everything. Else we do that. And I++. What's happened if we say something like that? Yeah. Okay, so now we have all the values. And I could create my graph. Okay. So I would simply create a new thing which will be called graph.js, and I will load this as graph.js. Okay. And let's create a function bar graph. So I will need to call this function later. Canvas ID labels, and I will create simply bar graphs. I will not change anything. Some bar graph is just better right now. Titles and also data. Okay, and now I could say constant stx is simply equal to document dot get element by id canvas id dot get context 2D and const chart new chart ctx. And now we could grab our data. Okay, so for all of them the type is equal to bar charts. Then we have the data descriptions where we have some label, which is labels. So this is the basic label, so this is the title. We also have the background. Let's focus on the elements. We need the labels, which is it. So then we have the data set. And the data set has a title. The values, we'll call this the values in order to have something more simple. And after that we will add an option of course this would be called before because I will call the bar chart after that. So let's try the then if everything is ready. Draw. So my ID is top 10 book. Okay. The data in the title top 10 des titres les plus réservés dans les bibliothèques de prêt. Ok. Ensuite, après ça, j'ai besoin du coup des labels. Donc, mes labels, c'est ça. Et ensuite, de mes data top 10 books. Et normalement, tout devrait marcher. Cannot access chart before initialization. Let's go back to the charts. Charts.json. Non, c'est pas lui que je veux, c'est lui. Ok. J'ai bien mon contexte. Oh, je crois que j'ai oublié de mettre une taille à mon canvas. Je pense que c'est le problème et que ici j'avais déjà une taille. Et que du coup il faudrait que je dise responsive true. Voilà. Ok. Du coup, je pourrais supprimer juste ces éléments-là et me focus uniquement sur un bar chart simple, sans élément de design. Normalement, si on retourne ici... So yeah, sorry, I switched totally in French. So yeah, my problem was I was using a responsive option as false, so the chart will not be able to scale up and scale down. So it doesn't, my canvas didn't has any size, so that's why we didn't show. It didn't show, but now it show, and I visible every other design option here. And now I want to simply check in the array by the number of reservation the values, so here and here. Okay, so the second one is okay, the third one is okay, etc, etc. So it seems to be correct for me. So my chart is correct, and we have now our little chart here. So as you could see, we have everything we wanted here. So we could continue our adding our bar chart. So this is the first top 10. So let's bind the second one, which are the top 10 author. So here it is. Top 10 des auteurs les plus réservés dans la bibliothèque de prêt. And we will get these two elements, the top 10 author and top and that. So here are second one. So of course Elena Ferrante comes first, Sobral Patrick comes second, and this is not the same here. You can see les couleurs de l'incendie de Pierre Lemaître are basically the second book, the most the second title the most booked, but Patrick has a total of 1,428 book shown, so this is it. Then we have another paragraph to show, which is the last one, which is document type. Okay, so top 10 document type, top 10 des types de documents les plus empruntés, top 10 of document type, labels, and top 10 document type. So without any design, we've come to this. Okay, adult book, DVD, comic for teenage, novelty, DVD, a young book, DVD, etc., etc. So that's it. Okay. So here it is. So it's kind of interesting to show that some of them. So here it's only a top 10, but we could show another story, of course. Well, I think that's all for this one, so it's might be okay. Okay, so we could focus on the display, but this is not necessary here. We could change this in order to simply create better name for the author, especially because we have the author here, and here we're basically taking the key. So what we could do is simply say key dot split. Okay, and then we will push the author 1 plus space plus author 0, and we could have this Elena Ferrante, Patrick Sobral, Philippe Groagen, etc., etc. So that's our little graph system. So it's kind of interesting because, of course, this first one is really easy to see, but it's more interesting to see that Patrick Sobral here and Philippe Groagen comes to third. And what's interesting is Philippe Sobral doesn't seem to appear in our top 10 book. So it's kind of interesting because you could see, of course, Elena Ferrante is on the top 10 for all of them, but you could say basically, oh, Pierre Lemaitre or IxD-Dataviz is the second most famous author that are who has the title booked in library, but in fact it's Patrick Sobral and Philippe Groagen which come from on the second place and the third place before Pierre Lemaitre, so before Virginie Despentes, which is the author of Vernon Subutex, and Joël Dicker comes here under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Riyad Satouf, which is not in our top 10 book, top 10 title appears basically on the top 10 author. So it's depending on the number of title an author has. And this one is interesting, but basically not the best. Another thing is, here we have the author, but we could basically try to refine our data to basically see which is the most famous author in library for books for adults, or for youngest, or for DVD, or extra. So that's the main idea. Okay, let's make a quick break. Try to package everything a little bit. Maybe we could place this on two lines, because we've made this here. So if I say this, I could break everything, and it does not take this, so yeah, why not? Okay. Okay, so this was the basic idea for this graph, and we didn't focus on the design part right now. So let's go back and create a new things. Okay, so let's put this aside for a moment. Okay, this one would be also put aside, and this one also. Okay, let's create a new document, which will be an HTML, of course. So here in the open with the map, get a new file which will be index.html, and this will be our HTML5 document, and this will be open with the map. Okay, we also have a script here which has source, which is let's call this open with map.js. Okay, and let's create a new file again, and we'll call this open with map.js. Okay, so what is open with the map? Basically, open with the map is another. Okay, so let's put this Instagram here. Okay, and let's go back here and open with the map, so everything is okay. Where is my with the map? It's here. So open with the map is a platform which can give you forecasts of the day, depending on various area, etc. So here you can see I have a forecast for Saint-Ouen, which is my town, with a degree and with various data. And you could also create some maps, so you have this, and you can have an hourly forecast, for example, where you can basically graph some data here. Open with a map is free, but you can pay for more data. So basically it has multiple API, and you can, with the free one, you can have a lot of things. So for example, we can have the historical weather for 5 days, the national weather alerts, the daily forecast for 7 days, the hourly forecast for 2 days, the minute forecast 1 hour, and the current weather. So you will have also the basic weather map, the air pollution API available, the geocoding API, the weather widgets. Yes, and if you want to pay, you will have multiple things. So for example, you have the same one for the startup things, but as you could see, you can make more calls per month than with the free, especially because the free one you can give only 16 calls per minute to the API, which means if you make 16 calls per minute, you are limited to 1 call per second. Okay, but if you want to create really a really real-time forecast, for example, showing a map with cloud evolution on the ground, you will need to subscribe for that. So yeah, what is everything? So first of all, the current weather data. The current weather data is basically a data where you can retrieve the value for your city. So it's for any location on Earth, to 200,000 city. The data is in JSON, so we have seen them. It's in XML, it's an old format, or HTML format, and you have a lot of data. So this is the API code, which is clearly kind of the same as opendata.paris. You will see the API open with them. So this is the name of the API. So this is the subdomain, api.weathermap.org/data, because we want to grab the data, / the version / the question, which is we want the weather, question mark Q, we want to retrieve the weather for this city, which is Paris, and the IP, which is your API key. I will go back to the API key later. So the Q is required, is the city name, the state code, the country, etc, etc. So it's important because Paris exists in multiple city, for example, multiple country. The app ID is your AP key. The AP key, I said I would go back later on that, but it's basically a key which is personal to you, and you don't want to publish it. You will need to hide it because it's only for you and you only. So this is the API key, and this is API. This is a key for accessing the server. So basically, because you need to subscribe, you will need to have this API key, which is valid just for you. And when you ask the server will check if the API key is valid, and if it's so, it will give you the data. You could have some you could add some modes. So this is if you want to use XML or HTML, but by default you will have the JSON elements. You could change the units. So standard metrics and imperial units are available. If you do not use the unit parameter, standard unit will be applied by default. You will have the language, it's optional, and this is an example. So here we have for London, for example, with your API which need to be hidden, and when you call that, you will have this. Okay, so you will have a lot of data. For example, if I want to check London, I will have the coordinate with longitude and latitude inside this JSON object. I will have also a JSON array, which is the weather, which has an ID, which has a main element and main information, which is here the drizzle. Let me just check the traduction for that. I think the drizzle is yes, it's a bruine, a crashant in French, a little fine rain. The description, so light intensity drizzle, and an icon. You could ask for an icon. So I think the icon is what we saw here, because I could grab the icon here. Okay, You would have also some base information, so this is the stations. You have some main information, so the main temperature 2280 degree Fahrenheit. I think it's Fahrenheit, because if I said that, let's say this Fahrenheit to Celsius. No, it's not. So the temp is not that. Well, we'll see the element later. You have the pressure, the humidity, the temp min and the temp max. It's not degree, it cannot be degree. You will have the visibility, the wind, so you could have the speed and the degree, so this is the orientation in the polar coordinate. You will have the cloud, okay. You will have DT, and you will have a lot of different ID, country, sunrise, sunset. This is a timestamp, okay. So let's check all the values for the current result. For example, long lat, API mode unit, it's okay. By zip code, so yeah, you could ask the weather with longitude and latitude, so we could ask basically the weather for where we are. This is really interesting, by zip code, etc. And you could call for several cities in the circle, etc, etc. Okay. And here we are, the description of the current weather. So city location, weather ID, so weather condition ID, so you will have different kind of weather main group of weather parameter, rain, snow, extreme, etc. Weather description, weather condition within the group. You can get the output in your language. For example, in French it's here. Okay, so if you want to weather icon, this is the ID icon, internal parameters, okay. Temperature, unit default, yeah, I think it's Fahrenheit, but it's Kelvin. Metrics will be Celsius, so I will need to change the mode if I want to say something like that. So it's Kelvin, and yes, because it's Kelvin, it might be more, it's better. Main.feel likes temperature, yeah, this is the how you feel the temperature. The pressure, the humidity level, min and max in Kelvin, the sea level, the ground level, the wind speed, the wind gust. So you will have a lot of things. Okay, so this is for the current weather right now. Okay, let's go to the minute forecast 1 hour. What is it? The one call API provides the following weather data and geographical condition: current weather, minute forecast for 1 hour, hourly forecast for 4 daily forecast for 7 days, national weather alert, etc, etc. So this is called one called API. So here you could see we have 1000 calls per day by using the one call API. So we could only ask 1000 times in a day. I don't think we will ask too much. So again, this is the same same request. So the subdomain, the domain, the data I want to get, the version, the type of the API we want to request. So this is one call with longitude and latitude. Here, I think it could go with the city. You could exclude some part, and you will have to get the API key. So the exclude, by using the parameter, you can exclude some part of the weather data from the API. You should be delimited list without space. Okay. Available value: current, minutely, hourly, daily, alert. Okay. So daily forecast is for 7 days. Hourly forecast is for current 42 hour, and minute forecast is for 1 hour. So I think we will go to daily. Of course, we could change the unit, and again, as always, ampersand and the option. So it would be ampersand unit, and we will say unit metric. So this is the example, and we have a lot of data. So as you could see, longitude, latitude, the time zone offset, the current data. DT sunrise, sunset, light humidity, UVI, cloud visibility. So it seems to be the current one. Okay, and this is the minute. So the minute is basically a JSON array. The hourly is again all the by hour. Okay, and the daily is for the daily. We said is for hourly. Minute is for 1 hour. Hourly is for 48 hour. Daily forecast is for 7. So you will have all the days on the daily with the temperature min max and the alert. It advisory remain in effect from okay. Seems to be okay for me. Okay, so that's the one call API, and I think I will try to make a simple graph showing the for the daily. I think we go for the daily. We will show a graph with a line of the temperatures and the min and the max, which are this value in the daily. I would have to say temperature of the day and the min and the max. Maybe night and evening and morning, and a lot of data. Why not? So it will be a way to see how we can make a multiple graph for that. So yeah, here we are, found by ID, by geolocation. Okay, so let's go. First of all, I will need to sign in. So I think I still have an account here. I still have an account, but you can create one which is free. You need to be more than 16 years old and agree with the privacy policy. So I want to, okay. So when you log into it, you will have, of course, your account, the support, and you will have information on new product, services. So this is my free plan. The weather, current weather and forecast, it's a free plan. I need 16 calls per minute, 3 hour forecast, 5 day. Daily forecast unavailable, hourly forecast unavailable. So I only can check this. I thought the minute forecast was okay. The daily forecast was okay, but it doesn't seem to be okay. So I'm a free plan, hourly forecast per day unavailable, 3 hour forecast per day 5, daily forecast unavailable. This is strange because it seems to have this daily forecast, but it doesn't want. Strange. It says here that I can get my API. It doesn't seem to be. Well, it's not a problem, but we'll try the one call API. You can have a free access because you are student, but me, I will go with my services. Okay. My order. Okay. So let's go here. I will need to create a new API key, and I will need, so here you can see all my API. So this is only for various tests, so it's not necessary, you can see it. So I will name it Foundry, the Foundry image, which is Foundry image, which is the name of the school, and I will create my API. So now it's here, this is my API. So we could try to call our daily forecast. So again, let's go here and let's break down this. So first of all, let's create a let, which will be our token, which is this. This is my token. Okay. Now let's go back here and go to the API and let's test the one call API. It seems to have this. So for example, if I want to test my API key, for example, I could go to, so this is a call. As you can see in one call API, this is an example of API call. So for this longitude and latitude, I don't know where is it. We will see later. Hourly, daily, we have exclude some of the elements. And we need to add our API key, which is here. So let's use that here. And let's try. Invalid API key, see this. So why do I have an invalid API key? Maybe it's because because this free plan doesn't get this API key. Please see open weather error. Where is it? Default. This is my API. I don't think I need to put this into that, but yes, it is. Okay. Maybe I need to create a new account, delete mine and create a new one. Because everything is here. It's the one call API with the this is not dashboard updated with a map. I don't see mine. current weather and historical data startup plan, payment, block log, my order, history bulk, history data archive, I'm already signed in, so that's why it's actually strange. Do I need to create a new account? Maybe. Let's try. Let's try to create a new account. Okay. I create a new one with my professional mail. Revo. Okay, yes. So now I have a default API. Okay, also foundry image. And in my binding plan, I have an app ID page API documentation. So let's try that. I'm sure it's in my spam. Not in this one. Oh yeah, open user map in account. Please confirm. My mail is confirmed. Did I receive any value, any elements? Forecast. Do I receive something or not? Doesn't seem so. Okay, let's wait a little bit. Let's go back here and let's try API doc. And it doesn't want that. But if I test another one, it could be okay. Current weather. Okay. London, for example. This, and my AP key is this. Invalid API. Why? Do I need to provide something in another format? This is really strange. This API is key is valid, but it doesn't give me any think I've made various call here in editor.p5gs.org. Yeah, I have my data here, so why? API.data. What's the difference here? Console.log request. So here it is. So let's go back in my APK, which is valid. So this is another, so this one is valid. But this one is not valid. This is strange. I have a valid key and this one is not valid. So let's change the token. That's really strange. And now it's receiving the data with the new API. Okay, maybe it was the for this, but this is strange. Okay. So this is okay. Okay, so the one code is okay. So the API, so it might be a problem. Okay. Where is my, okay. So what was the problem? Let's stay a little bit here. So the problem might be the time when the how many time OpenWeatherMap has to process my API key to log into the server and everything like that. So let's take this API, go back here. You know what, go back here, in fact, in order to have the two elements here. So yeah, change my API. So right now everything is, my API will be open. I know it's not perfect, but we'll see later how we can avoid that. So this is the one called API. So first of all, we have let's the open weather map URL, which is our request. Okay, there, this is it. Okay, then we will add the API. So I want to have the one called API, so this is it. Okay, then I will try to say foundry de l'image secondary image. And I will try to get the longitude and latitude of this. No. Where can I get long and lat? Yes, this is it. So let long lat en tant que latitude. So this is lat. So be sure that the first name as the latitude is between -19 to 19. So this is lat, and this is let long. Okay. So the first is this number, and the latitude, and the second is the longitude. Okay, so again going back here, and this would be lat would be equal to lat equal plus this, and of course I will need to have long equal plus, and of course I would say, because it's one after the other, I would add an ampersand for that. Okay, then let exclude. So we will check what do we want to exclude. And exclude. So for me, I want to exclude the current, the minutely, the hourly, and the daily, and the alert. So I want to exclude minutely. I also want to exclude hourly. I want the daily, 7-day forecast. Maybe a daily. Okay. Minutely, daily, which is 7-day forecast. You know what? Hourly. Okay. Let's focus on the 7-day, on the 30 alerts. Right now I don't want to focus on that, so minutely, hourly. So as you could see, it's divided by a simple semicolon here. Then we would add let unit, and of course, okay, let units. So an ampersand units will be equal to matrix, as we want degree in Celsius, and let lang, which will be lang equal fr, and at last the APK, which is let app ID and app ID equal plus token. Okay, so at last our request is basically everything bind together. So open with a map URL plus API plus lat plus long. Okay, plus plus the exclude with a C might be better, plus the units, plus the lang, plus the id. So this is our global request, which is this console.log request. As we made earlier, we could try our request. Yeah, here it is. So this is our request, nothing to geocode. Change up lat equal and long equal. Look like correct for me. Open with the map data, one call, lat equal and long. Oh, is it? Oh, not sure. And long and exclude and everything, but error, nothing in geocall. What's the difference between this and this? Long and exclude and daily. Let's try to change this. Divide that. Lat long plus app id. Oh, I know I might be a little bit too manually. The area might be too a little bit too. The area might be a little bit too big. For example, Bagnolet, okay. Which is this area. Okay. Let's say Bagnolet. Longitude, latitude, la localisation de Bagnolet, coordonnées, latitude 48, longitude 2 et quelques. Okay, so I need only 4 value before this geocode and 241. This is okay. 6, 9, 8. So this could be my request. Nothing to geocode. Strange. Open with a map, nothing to geocode. lat and long and app ID. Lat and long. Oh, I might have. Yes, this was the mistake. Okay. So my problem was not the longitude and latitude for the foundry image. So let's go back to our script. Where is it? So yeah, this was not the problem. Okay. The problem was basically that I had long instead of long. So that was the problem. Okay. Oh, now I have my new weather and this is my exclude weather. Okay. So that is okay. We now have this for Europe, Paris time zone current, and this is clearly not really a readable value, but we will check it. So let's create a new thing. Let's, as always, say data.json, and yeah, we want to save and say okay. And now you could see everything. So we have the long lat, the time zone, we have here the offsets, we have the current weather. Still get the current weather, but okay. And we also have the leisure pre, the green leisure, so it's okay. And this is the daily what I want to get. It's the temperature, the feel like for the first day, then the second day, etc, etc. So it might be easy to make a daily forecast with that. So of course we would need to create a new load data function. So as always, it's really simple. I will simply copy paste this, okay, and I will simply need to say load data request, and then say response is equal to a new function, console.log response dot catch error. Let's create a new function. This would be console.error error. Okay. And now you could see that I have everything ready with my daily forecast and everything is okay. So if I want to make something really quick, I would say I would need to get different kind of values. So I will need various things. So I will not get the current. We've made a long speech about how to go through for all the data inside the JSON object. So I will basically directly create my little data array. Okay. So yeah. So cloud dew point, I don't remember which is the dew point, but let's get into it. Daily sunrise, sunset, morning. Oh, it's atmospheric temperature. Okay. So yeah, I have the dew point, DT, which is, I don't remember, but DT might be something like okay. Request time Unix. So if it's Unix, we can change Unix to time. Which is Monday. So here 21, we have this is the day of today, and if I take the second one with the DT, same day. Oh no, yeah, of course, yeah. So this is the daily forecast. So basically, my first day is this one. Let's open that. So now, okay. So if I want to convert an epoch time, this is basically today. And if I want the next day, it would be this is the next day. So that is okay. Perfect. So I will need to get the DT, of course. This is the feel like, day, evening, morning, night, humidity, pressure, and the temperature. So maybe we could change this and this. What is strange is I ask specifically for a unit as a metric, but it's still in Kelvin, so kind of strange. But the current is in I think it's the same. So units, oh yeah, because this was not okay. And now in my daily forecast, yes, this is, so I will try to make it quick in order to avoid my, oh yeah, I think this is okay because I will need to create another API call tomorrow, so that's okay. So let's create a simple graph showing the difference between the feel like and the temperature. Okay, so let's create, let's okay, let's temperatures, which is basically an array. Let feel like, this would be another array, and let days, which would be the labels. I will need various things. So the first one will be simply to feed my two first elements, my two first array to the with the value, which is really simple. I will need simply to go through the response and to the daily, etc, etc. So let daily is equal to response dot daily, daily, so this is okay. And for let I equal 0, I is less than daily dot length, and I plus plus, then I could say let temp is basically equal to daily at I, and I will need to go to the temp array object, and I would get the day value, and let fill will be equal to the same thing, daily I, but instead of temp it will be feels like dot day. Now I could push my temperature here, dot push temp, and I could also push my day, so feel like that push my day, my feel like, so it would be feel likes. Okay, and now I would also say something like I will need to change the day, so I will need to convert a Unix timestamp to a correct time. So with a primodere icon, okay, rain. I think I don't have anything on the day, so I will need to change Unix to yes Unix to day string. So look like, so we need to create a new function, so let not let function convert Unix to day, let Unix, and I don't need the let because it's a parameter. I will say let a is equal to new date, and I will need to get the Unix timestamp, so my Unix multiply by 1000 because JavaScript is in milliseconds. I will need to provide some months which are constants. Okay. Year, which will be equal to a.get full year, const months equal to months at the index of a dot get months, and let date day will be equal to a dot get date, and we will return I will return day plus months plus year. Okay, let's date would be equal to this dot, and now we will find our value here. So again, I will go to daily I dot and tt because this is the timestamp, and then I will push my day directly into the day array, and after that I could console.log my temperature, my per likes, and my day, and this would be that, and this is my day, this is my feel like, and this is my different elements. So again, I could go to chart.js because my data are now ready. So as we made here, I will load my chart, and I will create my graph, and I will create a daily forecast canvas. Okay, and this is graph.js. Okay, go to the get started. Let's go back here to the bar graph. So again, I will make something simple. This would be line graph. I need to canvas the title, the label, the values. I think I will change a little bit that, but as this is an array, I think so it's fine. So this is title data 1, and I will need another title data 2. Okay, so title data 1, and because it's a JSON array, I could simply say something like that. Value 1 and values 2. Okay, let's open that here, and again going here, and we will need to create a new line graph here, and of course you would have the daily forecast here, and the title data 1 is temperature, température ressentie, let me check if it's okay. It's ressentie, not sure. okay. The labels, it's the days, of course. The value 1 are the temperatures, and the value 2 are the feel likes. And oh, okay, feel likes. And let's push this here, and this might be okay. So we could have a graph, and as you could see, we have the temperatures, and we have now a graph. So this is the feel like, and this is the feel, and okay. So this is it for the for this quick graph on OpenWeatherMap and the API key. As you could see, the design is really not finished, especially on the color and everything. So we will need to dig into it in order to finish the design. But the idea here was not to work on the design part, so that's why. So it seems okay to me. So we could push everything to the Git, and the last part would be to publish on GitHub. So let me just check publish on GitHub. Okay, so yeah, let me try to publish on Git. So everything is working right now. What I want now is to publish everything on Git. So basically GitHub, I will simply talk a little bit about that, but okay, here we are. So GitHub is a platform where you can cool. I love to see everything. So where we can store your code, and it's what we call a version control. So you could push a code, so you will retrieve all your assets, all your code here. It's free, and you can create a simple markdown file in order to explain everything you work on here. You can track some issue, so an issue, we will go to it later on the course. The issue is a way to say something is broken here, something is broken here, etc, etc, and try to fix it, etc, etc. You can work with multiple people and have some pull requests, so someone are modifying a code and you can push its modification directly into your ones. You will have some actions. So action is a way to make your program run himself, and especially if you want to so it's really interesting. The action, it's a way to have your project running with some server-side system, so it might be really interesting. You could see everything for the project if you want to plan it. You could create a wiki, a security elements, and here you will have, for example, all the activities. So how many elements, how many push you have made, etc, etc, how many commits. But what I want to make is create a page. So a page is a way to make GitHub as a server, so you could directly go into it. So I've used it already on one project, which is creative coding. So I think it's CC. Yes, this is this one, where you can basically go to various pages, for example. So everything is stored on GitHub, so as github.io/your repository. And for example, you could see here you can have a simple page with everything inside of it, so it's really interesting. Can make a simple system, so really it's really great. So yeah, that's what I want to make. So let me commit everything. Okay. Now let me check. Oh, I can make a page. So where is it? So this is it. So this was Github pages. So now it's on the master branch, but if I want, I could simply choose another branch. So for this one, okay, here it is. We could go to the settings. Okay. And I would go to keep it pages, so it's disabled. So let's say we want to go on the main branch, and we could go, for example, into various elements. So here on the main, I will go to the root. So you could also create a custom domain. So let's say, so right now I have this domain, but I can make a custom one. So as you could see, this is my markdown, but if I want, I can basically go from 2 different folders. So right now this folder is kind of, where am I? Yeah, this one there. Okay. So yeah, right now I'm inside this folder, but I can navigate through this by simply going, for example, to module 2 with the map. Okay. And I think this would be, and now you could see my weather map working perfectly and running on a web page. So it's a way to avoid having some paying some server side system and uploading everything. So now you have your website running. I can say module 1, for example, and slash graph. I think it was this one. Let's go back to the models. So yeah, it's graph with a G, and now I have my graph. So this is some basic example for graphing. So that's the main idea. So that's all for tonight. I hope you like it. It was a big stream, maybe 3 or 4 hours. That's what I wanted. And basically we overview everything we wanted to see. So we go through the open data, especially opendata.paris. We try to grab some data, we try to understand the JSON formats, we also try to manipulate the data and to sort everything using the refine and everything else and the facets, etc, etc. We also work with the open data, open weather map, which was really interesting also. And we understand what the token is. So right now my token is free to use, but usually I will try to hide it. So I will need to try a way to hide these things from the source. Also, you learn how to publish on Github. So that was the main idea. I hope you like it, and I will wish you a great data visualization. Thanks. Goodbye, everyone.